Key Glock just sent a loud message to Yo Gotti. He basically said Gotti isn't welcome in Memphis anymore. That hits crazy because this is the same Yo Gotti who built a massive empire off that city. The same man whose CMG label helped push Memphis into the mainstream spotlight. And now, one of his biggest rivals' proteges is saying the city doesn't belong to him anymore. This wasn't some quiet diss either. No slick line hidden in a song, no low-key post. Key Glock made it clear in public. As far as his side is concerned, Yo Gotti's name doesn't carry the same weight in Memphis streets anymore. And when Gotti heard about it, his reaction spoke volumes without even saying much. This situation goes way deeper than rappers arguing online. This is about control over Memphis itself. It traces back to a conflict that started over a deal in 2014, a situation that led to real consequences, prison sentences, lives changed forever, and tension that never cooled off. And now, things are shifting again. Even people close to Gotti seem to be stepping back, while his influence starts to slip piece by piece, and Key Glock is right there applying pressure. To really understand why this moment matters, you have to go all the way back to where it started.
Memphis moves different when it comes to hip-hop. In this city, music and street ties have always been connected, going all the way back to the 3-6 Mafia era in the 90s. Loyalty isn't optional here. You're either on one side or the other, no middle ground at all. And that's exactly why things exploded when Young Dolph turned down Yo Gotti's deal in 2014. That moment changed everything. At the time, Yo Gotti had serious control over the Memphis rap scene. His label CMG, which used to be called Cocaine Music Group before it got cleaned up for business reasons, had major backing, big industry connections, and a full system behind it. When Dolph started gaining attention with projects like high-class street music, Gotti saw the wave and wanted him on his team badly. But Dolph didn't fold. He said no straight up. That decision said a lot about who he was. Dolph was independent all the way. He wasn't giving up ownership of his music, his image, or his paper route empire for anyone, not even the biggest name in his own city. Instead, Dolph linked up with Empire for distribution and built Paper Route Empire into a real force on its own. He showed people you could come up in Memphis without going through one gatekeeper. And in a city where Gotti had that kind of influence, that move wasn't just bold, it shook the whole system.
That one no flipped everything upside down. In Memphis, turning down someone powerful isn't just business. It can be seen as straight disrespect. And that's exactly how this situation started to unfold. You have to remember, Gotti wasn't just any rapper. Reports had his net worth sitting around $100 million, with CMG backed by major industry partnerships and a stacked roster. Moneybagg Yo, Black Youngsta, 42 Dugg, ESTG, and later Glorilla and Big Boogie. He was building something huge. So when Dolph turned him down and then started matching him on the charts, it didn't just look bold. It looked like real competition threatening the whole setup. At first, things stayed low-key. A few subtle shots, some tension here and there, but nothing too wild. Then February 2016 hit, and Dolph went on Twitter calling out someone for switching up after trying to sign him. He never said the name, but everyone knew who he meant. Then came the moment that really shook things. Dolph announced his album King of Memphis. That title had been tied to Gotti for years, and now Dolph was claiming it for himself? That move had people talking everywhere. Soon after, Black Youngsta, who was with CMG, jumped into the situation online, posting videos and sending aggressive messages while showing up around areas tied to Dolph, trying to prove a point on camera. It looked intense, and people were paying attention.
Dolph, though, didn't react the way some expected. He brushed it off publicly, posting a laughing emoji and a thumbs down like it wasn't serious. But outside of social media, everyone could see the tension rising. Because when situations like that play out in public, it can quickly turn into something much bigger. Black Youngsta didn't ease up at all. He turned things up even more. He dropped a diss track called Shake Some, and this time, he went straight at Dolph with it. The lyrics came off intense, talking about heavy firepower and questioning how Dolph could claim King of Memphis when he wasn't originally from the city itself. This wasn't subtle. It felt personal and
aggressive, especially coming from someone repping CMG so openly. Meanwhile, Gotti kept his public image calm. He spoke out saying he didn't agree with how Youngsta was handling things. But Dolph wasn't convinced for a second. Dolph fired back on Instagram, basically saying everything was being directed behind the scenes. And looking at how things unfolded later, that claim raised a lot of eyebrows. Then, everything shifted into something way more serious. In February 2017, Dolph dropped Play With Your... and there was nothing hidden about it. He called Gotti out directly and even used bold imagery tied to his personal life in the cover art. It was a clear message, pushing the situation further into the spotlight.
Not long after, things took a dangerous turn. While Dolph was in Charlotte, his vehicle was hit with an overwhelming number of shots. Over 100 rounds reported. The incident was captured on surveillance, and details later connected the vehicle involved to a rental linked back to Black Youngsta. That moment made it clear this situation had gone far beyond music. Think about this for a second. The vehicle connected to that shooting was rented under the name of an artist tied to Yo Gotti's label. That detail came out during the investigation, and people couldn't ignore it. But here's what really shocked everyone. Dolph survived, and not by luck alone. He was moving in a bulletproof vehicle, already prepared for something like this. That tells you how serious things had gotten. And what did Dolph do after surviving something like that? He turned it into music. Just over a month later, he dropped a project called Bulletproof. That move said everything about his mindset. Bold, unshaken, and not backing down. He even released a track called 100 Shots, flipping the entire situation into a statement. That kind of reaction had people either impressed or uneasy, depending on where they stood.
Then later that same year, things escalated again. Dolph was injured in another shooting outside a hotel in Hollywood and had to be rushed to the hospital in critical condition. Early reports connected names close to Gotti to the situation, though official updates later clarified details and no lasting charges stuck. Still, public opinion was already forming, and the tension only grew stronger. Dolph pulled through again, making it 2 serious incidents in 1 year, and he kept going, still making music and still standing on his identity. While all this was happening, Key Glock was right there watching closely. Not just family, but a protege and a major part of Paper Route empire. He was learning everything in real time and building his own name alongside Dolph. Now, here's where Glock's story adds more weight to all of this. His real name is Markevius Cathy, born in South Memphis in 1997. His early life wasn't easy. His mother was sentenced to 15 years when he was still a baby, and his father wasn't consistently around. He was raised by his grandmother and aunt, and through that family connection, he grew close to his cousin, young Dolph. Here's what really stands out about Glock. Even though he was close with Dolph, around him at family events and in everyday life, he never leaned on Dolph's success. He had too much pride for that and stayed focused on his own grind. But Dolph respected that hustle and brought him into Paper Route empire, stepping in as a mentor, business partner, and someone Glock could really learn from. Once that connection locked in, Glock started rising fast. Glock's season in 2017 got people paying attention, and then the joint projects with Dolph took things to another level. Dumb and Dumber in 2019 made serious noise, and their momentum didn't slow down. They even took their run overseas, performing together and expanding their reach. Then came Glock's solo run, and he proved he could stand on his own. Yellow Tape dropped in 2020 and landed strong on the charts, eventually going gold. Yellow Tape 2 pushed even higher, and tracks like Ambition for Cash took off in a big way. He followed that with Son of a Gun, a project with 0 features, and that became his signature style. No guests, no extras, just Glock delivering his sound straight up. What made him different was his roots. Glock grew up on Memphis legends like 3 6 Mafia, Project Pat, Gucci Mane, and Lil Wayne. He even said Project Pat's influence shaped his whole direction, inspiring early records like Dig That. So when Glock stepped in the booth, he wasn't just making songs, he was carrying a whole city's sound with him. And while all this success was building,
the tension between CMG and Paper Route Empire never fully disappeared. Subtle shots in music, rumors about certain areas, and ongoing friction kept things on edge. But one thing stayed clear. Key Glock wasn't moving with fear, and he wasn't stepping back from any of it.
When Black Youngster dropped I Met Tay Keith first, people caught the subliminal right away. It was seen as a shot at Glock, since Glock and Tay Keith go way back to high school. Glock didn't stay quiet either. He jumped straight into the comments, calling it cap, making it clear he wasn't letting anything slide. He stood solid for Paper Route Empire every time. Then came the moment that changed everything. November 17th, 2021. Young Dolph, someone who had survived multiple attacks and kept pushing forward, went into a bakery in Memphis to grab cookies before a Thanksgiving giveaway. While he was inside, two individuals came in and opened fire. Dolph was hit multiple times and passed away right there in his own city. The news shook everything. Key Glock found out while he was on Instagram Live. Viewers saw the exact moment it hit him. He went quiet, ended the stream, and disappeared from social media soon after. He stepped away completely, leaving Memphis for a while. The loss wasn't just public, it was deeply personal. Dolph wasn't only family, he was guidance, support, and a major part of Glock's journey. Later images showed Glock at a memorial event, and the weight of everything was clear on his face. Around that same time, he was dealing with other personal losses too, making the situation even heavier. It was a lot for anyone to carry. But moments like that can shift a person. Pain can turn into drive, or something even more intense. And for Glock, it became both. This is where things took a darker turn, and people really started paying attention. The two individuals responsible for the shooting were identified as Cornelius Smith and Justin Johnson, also known as Straight Drop. Both were arrested, and in 2024, Johnson was convicted of first-degree murder and sentenced to life in prison. That part was clear, but the bigger question stayed in the air. Who was behind it all? Then came Hernandez Govin. Prosecutors charged him with first-degree murder and conspiracy, accusing him of organizing the entire situation. During the trial, testimony came out that shocked a lot of people watching closely. Cornelius Smith testified in court and made serious claims, saying that Anthony Big Joke Memes, Yo Gotti's brother, had placed money offers targeting multiple individuals connected to Paper Route Empire. Specific amounts were mentioned during testimony, which made the situation sound highly organized rather than random. According to prosecutors, this wasn't just personal tension. They described it as a coordinated plan. They presented claims about communication between those involved, including phone records showing repeated contact leading up to the incident. That courtroom narrative painted a picture of something much bigger being alleged, with connections that people are still debating and reacting to. Then, things took another unexpected turn, and this part had people shocked. After just a few hours of deliberation in August 2025, the jury found Hernandez Govin not guilty on all charges. No conviction for murder, no conspiracy. He walked out a free man. His defense team pushed back hard during the trial. They questioned the credibility of key testimony and argued there wasn't enough solid evidence linking him directly to the crime. No physical proof, no clear connection beyond statements, and in the end, the jury sided with that argument. When the verdict dropped, Key Glock reacted online with a short but heavy message. He posted, "My city failed, but what's new?" It didn't stay up long, but people caught it fast and shared it everywhere. That one line said a lot about how he was feeling in that moment. The reaction from Dolph's family was described as deeply emotional, with clear disappointment after the outcome. Even with all the effort put into the case, it didn't end the way they hoped, and that weight was felt by many watching closely. From Glock's point of view, the situation hit hard. He lost someone close to him, saw the case play out publicly, and then watched it end without the result he expected. Add in the ongoing tension between camps and the lack of public statements from certain figures, it only added more questions to the situation. And just when people thought things couldn't get more intense, another major moment happened before some of the trial details even came out. In January 2024, Anthony Big Joke Mims, Yo Gotti's brother, was at a gathering in Memphis when a shooting occurred.
He was seriously injured and later passed away. The location and timing caught a lot of attention. It happened in a similar area and in broad daylight, which led to heavy speculation online. People started connecting dots, asking if it was related or just another tragic event in an already tense situation. Nothing was officially confirmed tying it together, but the conversation spread fast. Police shared surveillance images of a white Ford Explorer believed to be connected to the shooting, but even years later, no arrests have been announced, and no one has been officially charged. That silence kept people talking. What made it even more chilling was Big Joke's final post online, a selfie with a caption about staying alert and watching your back. That was one day, and by the next, everything had changed.
At his funeral, the atmosphere was intense. Heavy security filled the area, with a strong police presence and tight monitoring all around. It didn't feel like a typical service. It showed just how serious the situation had become. When Yo Gotti later appeared at a major public event, reports described him moving with extremely heavy security, like someone taking every possible precaution. It added to the image of just how tense things were behind the scenes. Now, when you look at everything together, the history, the losses, the court cases, all of it, Key Glock's statement hits different. When he said, "Yo Gotti ain't welcome in Memphis no more," that wasn't just talk. That carried years of tension and emotion behind it. And here's where things stand now. Key Glock isn't the same person people saw step away from everything before. He came back focused. He released Proud as a tribute, followed it up with new music, and then stepped into a major partnership while still holding his independent roots strong. In 2025, he dropped Glockavelli, a full project with no features that made serious noise on the charts and streaming platforms. He took that momentum on tour, hitting cities across the country and selling out shows. And by early 2026, he was already back working, with new music lined up and ready to go.
Key Glock didn't just make it through the tension between CMG and PRE, he turned it into momentum. And on top of that, he's been carrying Young Dolph's legacy every single day, keeping Paper Route Empire active through music, moves, and presence in the culture. His Glockavelli project brought in major producers like Take Keith and DJ Paul, giving it that heavy Memphis sound with real energy behind it. Even the title was a statement, inspired by a legendary era of reinvention and standing strong under pressure. You can hear it in the music. It's personal, it's driven, and it reflects everything he's been through. In interviews, Glock kept it simple, letting the music speak louder than anything else. And by early 2026, he was already teasing new tracks online and confirming another project was finished. No slowing down, no stepping back. He's locked in. At the same time, his message toward Gotti comes through loud without needing long speeches. On one side, you have a major label system and a powerful roster. On the other, you have PRE holding his ground and building his own lane. That contrast is what keeps people watching closely. Even within CMG, some artists have made it clear they're staying out of the tension. Big Boogie, for example, openly said he's focused on his own path and not getting pulled into any back and forth. That kind of distance says a lot about how complicated things have become.
As for Yo Gotti, he stayed mostly quiet through all of this. He hasn't publicly responded to many of the claims, the courtroom moments, or the online statements. That silence stands out, especially with everything happening around him, and it leaves people continuing to speculate about where things really stand. That silence coming from Gotti? In Memphis, that kind of quiet can speak louder than any diss track ever could. Some people see it as a smart move, staying focused on business, protecting a massive empire, and avoiding anything that could create legal problems. From that angle, it makes sense. With major partnerships, successful artists, and investments on the line, there's a lot to protect. But on the cultural side, that same silence gets read very differently. People start asking questions. They start wondering why nothing is being said. And when Key Glock makes a bold public statement about Memphis and there's no response, it doesn't go unnoticed. The streets are always watching, and so is the audience. That's what makes this situation so wild.
Gotti built his name around Memphis, calling himself the king and turning the city into the base of his whole brand. Now you've got someone from the opposing side stepping up and challenging that image directly, and doing it while rising in his own career.
At the same time, Glock is moving forward fast. Touring, dropping music, growing his platform, all while staying alert in how he moves. Situations from the past have clearly shaped that mindset, and it shows in how seriously he takes security in his surroundings. When you step back and look at everything, this goes way beyond two artists. This is about a city, a culture, and what happens when competition turns into something deeper with real-world consequences. Memphis has felt the impact from both sides over the years, and the divide between CMG and PRE has been talked about for a long time. It's not just about music anymore. It's about influence, loyalty, and how all of this continues to shape the city's identity moving forward. When Glorilla signed to CMG, people wasted no time digging into her past. Old posts surfaced showing her showing love to young Dolph and even taking pictures with him years back. The reaction was immediate. Fans started questioning her loyalty and calling her out for switching sides. That's how deep things run in Memphis. In that city, even making a career move like signing to a label can turn into a debate about where you stand. It's bigger than music. It's about alignment, history, and who you're connected to.
And when it comes to justice, a lot still feels unresolved. One person received a life sentence, but other parts of the case are still ongoing, with charges pending and no clear timeline. Another major case connected to all of this remains unsolved, leaving more questions than answers. There have even been claims made during the situation that added more layers to the story, though not all of them have been proven. Still, those details kept people talking and added to the overall tension surrounding everything. Key Glock's statement about Gotti isn't just about one moment. It represents a bigger shift. It feels like a new generation stepping forward and saying they're taking control of their own narrative. It also sends a message that Paper Route Empire is still standing strong and continuing forward. In Memphis, loyalty isn't just something people talk about. It's something that shapes decisions and reputations every day. That's why this situation carries so much weight. Now, the big question is what comes next. Does Gotti respond at some point, or does he stay focused on the larger business moves outside of the city? Meanwhile, Glock seems locked into his path, building his career and moving ahead. And when you really think about it, it all traces back to one decision years ago, a moment that set off a chain of events still being felt today. And even now, it doesn't feel like it's fully over.
So, what do you think? Is Key Glock right for drawing that line like that? Can Yo Gotti ever really move through Memphis the same way again? And the biggest question, when does this cycle finally stop? Because right now, it feels like the new wave of Memphis rap isn't being defined by talent alone. It's about who made it through everything still standing. And that's a heavy reality. That's not what hip-hop was meant to be. It was supposed to be about creativity, expression, building something bigger, not constant loss and tension. But one thing stands out clear. What Key Glock is doing right now is powerful. He took a devastating loss and turned it into drive. He's carrying Paper Route forward, staying independent, and proving you don't have to switch up or fold under pressure to succeed. In a city that's been through so much, that message hits different. Gotti may have the business side locked in, the deals, the numbers, the industry reach, but Glock, he's got something deeper. He's got connection, loyalty, and a strong presence in the culture. Now, it's your turn. Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if this story stuck with you, hit like, subscribe, and share so more people can tap in. Stay locked. More real breakdowns on the way.